You ever notice how the people who don't respect you are usually the loudest in the room? They'll talk over you, dismiss your ideas, maybe even laugh at your boundaries. But here's the truth: disrespect only sticks if you let it. And I'm not talking about clapping back, yelling louder, or proving yourself. I'm talking about holding yourself in such a way that their disrespect has nowhere to land. Today, I'm going to give you 5 ways to handle people who don't respect you, and none of them require you to lose your peace. Think about the last time somebody disrespected you. Maybe it was at work. Maybe it was with a family member. Maybe it was in a relationship. They cut you off, rolled their eyes, dismissed your idea, or just spoke in a way that made you feel small. And in that moment, what's the first thing we usually want to do? React. We want to snap back, defend ourselves, prove our point. It's human nature. Nobody likes feeling pushed down, so the instinct is to push back up. But here's the problem: when we immediately react, we hand over the very control they're trying to take from us. We play right into their hands. Silence, though, it does something different. Silence forces that disrespect to hang in the air with no place to go. It makes the other person sit with what they just did without you cleaning it up, without you trying to balance the scales. And silence isn't weakness. It's not you backing down. It's you choosing not to pour gas on a fire that's already burning. When you stay quiet, when you give yourself a pause, you create space. Space to think, space to breathe, space to decide how you want to move instead of letting them decide it for you. Now, this doesn't mean you never speak up. It doesn't mean you let people walk all over you. What it means is you don't let them dictate the timing of your response. You take back the power of pacing. You choose when, where, and how you respond. And that alone changes everything. Because most people who throw disrespect your way are fishing for a reaction. They want to see you flinch. They want to see you break your calm. They want to see you lose it, because the second you do, they win. But when you hold your tongue, when you sit steady in that silence, they have nothing to grab onto. It's like trying to wrestle with water. You can't. I'll tell you something: silence makes people uncomfortable. Most folks aren't used to it. They're used to chaos, to back and forth, to defending and attacking. When you don't play that game, when you sit there and just let the moment breathe, the attention shifts back on them. They have to face themselves. And more often than not, it reveals way more about who they are than anything you could have said. But silence doesn't just affect them, it affects you. It keeps your peace intact. It gives you clarity. It helps you recognize that not every comment, not every jab, not every side-eyed remark deserves a response. Some things are beneath you. Some arguments are beneath you. And silence is how you prove it to yourself. You're showing that your peace, your focus, your energy are more valuable than winning some petty exchange. Think about it like this: if someone throws mud at you, you can throw mud back, but now you're both dirty. Or you can stand still, let them get messy on their own, and walk away clean. Silence is that clean walk away. It says, I'm not here to get down in the dirt with you. I've got bigger places to be. So the next time someone disrespects you, don't hand over your power by rushing to clap back. Take a breath. Hold the silence. Watch how much louder it speaks than anything you could say. Because sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is nothing at all. Respect always starts with you. If you don't respect your own time, your own energy, your own worth, no one else will either. And this is where boundaries come in. Boundaries are not walls to keep people out. They're guardrails to keep you safe. They're not about control, they're about clarity. They tell people where you end and where they begin. And the truth is, if someone doesn't respect you, it's often because you've never shown them where those lines are. Now, most of us struggle with boundaries because we think they sound harsh. We worry we'll come across as rude or unkind if we tell someone, I'm not okay with that. But boundaries are not rude. Boundaries are respectful, both to you and to the other person. They make relationships healthier, not colder. The only people who get upset about you setting boundaries are the ones who benefited from you having none. And here's the thing, you don't have to yell, you don't have to justify, and you don't have to over-explain. A simple, calm statement is enough. I'm not going to be spoken to like that. I can't make it this time. That doesn't work for me. That's it. No long speech, no nervous apology tagged on at the end. Because the moment you start apologizing for your boundary, you've already told them it's negotiable. But your worth is not negotiable. When you set a boundary, you're not telling someone, I don't care about you. You're telling them, I care about me, and people who truly respect you will get it. They might not like it at first, but they'll adjust. And the ones who don't, they'll either push back harder or they'll fall away. Either way, you've won, because now you're not wasting your time or your heart on someone who refuses to meet you at the level of respect you require. Boundaries also teach people how to treat you. If you allow someone to constantly show up late, they'll keep showing up late. If you allow someone to speak to you with disrespect, they'll keep speaking to you with disrespect. But the moment you stand firm, the moment you say, that's not acceptable, you reset the tone of the relationship. You shift the balance. You make it clear that if they want access to you, it comes with conditions, and those conditions are respect. And let's be honest, setting boundaries isn't just about other people. It's also about you proving to yourself that you value you. Every time you keep a boundary, you're sending a message back to yourself. I'm worth protecting. I'm worth standing up for. I matter. And that builds confidence like nothing else. That builds self-respect. And the more you respect yourself, the harder it becomes for anyone else not to. You can't control whether someone respects you, but you can control whether you tolerate their disrespect. That's where your power lies. And that's what boundaries are all about: protecting your peace, protecting your worth, and protecting the life you're building. So don't be afraid to draw the line. Don't be afraid to stand on it without apology. Because every time you set a boundary, you're not pushing people away, you're pulling the right ones closer. Respect yourself enough to draw the line, and others will respect you enough not to cross it. When someone disrespects you, the easiest thing in the world is to match their energy. They get loud, you get louder. They roll their eyes, you roll yours. They bring sarcasm, you throw it right back. And for a split second, it feels good. It feels like you've defended yourself, like you've stood your ground. But the truth is, when you stoop to their level, you don't rise, you fall. You give them exactly what they want, proof that they can pull you out of character. That's the trap, and it's one we've all fallen into. But there's a stronger way to handle it. Instead of matching their energy, raise yours. Choose to respond from a higher place, not a lower one. And this isn't about pretending you're unaffected or swallowing down your feelings. It's about being intentional with how you show up, because you're not responsible for how they act, but you are responsible for how you answer. Picture this: someone is trying to drag you into the mud with them. You can fight them in the mud, or you can stay standing on solid ground where you belong. Which one shows real strength? Which one shows real self-control? The higher road will always feel harder in the moment, but it will always leave you cleaner in the end. Here's the secret: people who disrespect you thrive on reaction. They want to see your frustration. They want to feel your anger. That's their fuel. So when you choose calm, when you choose composure, when you refuse to give them the outburst they're hoping for, you cut off their supply. You disarm them without ever having to raise your voice. And raising your energy doesn't just protect you, it sends a message. It says, I'm not here to compete with chaos. I'm not here to mirror your negativity. I decide the tone of this conversation. And once you do that, you've shifted the power. Because power isn't in who yells the loudest. Power is in who can stay grounded while everyone else is losing their cool. I've learned that calm is contagious. When you stay level, when you keep your words measured, when you refuse to be rattled, the other person feels it. They're forced to adjust, or at least recognize they can't shake you. And even if they don't change, you've still won. Why? Because you didn't let them turn you into something you're not. Now, that doesn't mean you stay quiet forever or let disrespect slide. It means you answer it from a place of strength, not weakness. You speak firmly but not frantically. You make your point without losing your peace. And the person across from you, whether they admit it or not, feels the difference. They can't control someone who controls themselves. And here's what's beautiful: every time you choose composure over chaos, you train yourself. You remind yourself that you don't have to take the bait. You build a kind of inner muscle that gets stronger with practice. Over time, it stops being about proving them wrong, and it starts being about proving yourself right. You get to walk away knowing you didn't just handle them, you handled you. So don't waste your energy trying to match disrespect. Don't let someone's lack of control dictate your level of control. The higher you raise your energy, the less room you leave for theirs, because the real victory isn't in beating them at their game. It's in refusing to play it. If you want people to respect you, you've got to start by respecting yourself. That sounds simple, but it's one of the hardest things to do consistently. Because the truth is, people don't learn how to treat you by what you say. You train them through what you tolerate, how you carry yourself, and how you talk to yourself when no one else is listening. Self-respect is the foundation. Without it, every boundary you try to set, every reaction you try to control, every move you try to make feels shaky. But when you respect yourself first, you build a standard that others can't help but notice. Think about the way you speak about yourself. Do you tear yourself down in front of others as a joke? Do you dismiss your own accomplishments like they don't matter? Do you say yes to things that drain you just because you're afraid of disappointing someone? Those little choices aren't harmless. They're signals. They tell the world, I don't take myself seriously, so you don't have to either. But when you start honoring your own time, when you take care of your health, when you stand tall in your words, when you stop laughing at your own expense just to make someone else comfortable, you shift the tone. You start teaching people, this is the level I operate at. If you're coming into my space, this is the standard. Self-respect also shows up in the way you carry yourself in difficult situations. When you choose not to gossip, when you choose not to lower your values just to fit in, when you walk away from environments that don't align with who you are, you're making deposits into your self-respect account. And the more deposits you make, the harder it becomes for anyone to overdraft it with disrespect. Here's the reality: you cannot demand from others what you don't demand from yourself. You can't expect people to respect your boundaries if you keep breaking your own. You can't expect people to value your time if you constantly give it away for free. You can't expect people to treat you with dignity if you consistently downplay your worth. Respect is contagious, but it has to start at home. And it doesn't always look loud. Self-respect isn't about walking into a room and announcing how important you are. It's about quiet consistency. It's about showing up on time, keeping your word, handling yourself with dignity, even when no one is watching. It's about building an internal standard so high that disrespect feels jarring when it shows up. That's when you know your self-respect is working, when someone tries to cross the line and you instantly recognize that doesn't belong here. What's powerful about this is that it changes the people you attract. When you respect yourself, you stop entertaining relationships that don't serve you. You stop bending over backward for people who wouldn't lift a finger for you. You stop settling for environments that drain you. You naturally pull in people who meet you at your level, because anything less doesn't even register as an option anymore. And yes, it's uncomfortable at first. Respecting yourself might mean saying no more often, walking away from certain circles, or letting people be upset with you. But you've got to decide, are you willing to disappoint them, or are you going to keep disappointing yourself? Because one of those choices will cost you peace, and the other will build it. At the end of the day, how you treat yourself sets the ceiling for how others treat you. Raise that ceiling high, because when you respect yourself first, you make it impossible for anyone else not to. Sometimes the strongest move you can make isn't to fight harder or talk louder, it's to step back and create distance. Distance is not weakness. Distance is wisdom. It's recognizing that not every situation deserves your presence, not every person deserves your access, and not every argument is worth your energy. Walking away doesn't mean you're scared. It doesn't mean you've lost. It means you're no longer interested in wasting time where respect doesn't exist. Think about it. How many times have you found yourself going back and forth with someone, trying to make them understand your worth, trying to prove your point, trying to get them to treat you better? And what happens? You get exhausted. You drain yourself dry, and half the time they don't change. Why? Because people don't change through your begging, your arguing, or your proving. They change when they feel the weight of your absence. Distance makes people realize what they took for granted. And here's the thing, distance is not always permanent. It doesn't always mean cutting someone off forever. Sometimes it's as simple as creating space to let them sit with their own actions, space to remind yourself of your own value, space to protect your peace while you figure out what's next. That space allows clarity. When you step away even just a little, you can see things you couldn't see while you were in the middle of the storm. You realize what you've been tolerating. You realize how much of yourself you've been giving away. And you start asking the right question: why am I fighting so hard for someone who won't even meet me halfway? Distance is also a filter. The people who truly respect you will notice the space and try to close it with effort, with change, with accountability. The ones who don't will either ignore it or try to guilt you back in. And that tells you everything you need to know. You don't have to chase the truth. It reveals itself in the way people respond to your absence. A lot of us are afraid to step back because we think walking away means we're weak. But in reality, it takes far more strength to remove yourself than it does to keep fighting a battle you can't win. Anybody can argue. Anybody can stay stuck in the same cycle, repeating the same conversations, going in circles. But it takes courage to say, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm choosing me this time. That's not weakness. That's power. And distance doesn't just protect you from them, it protects you from becoming someone you're not. Because when you stay too long in a space where you're not respected, eventually you start to lose respect for yourself. You start doubting your worth. You start thinking maybe this is all you deserve. But when you step back, when you create that distance, you remind yourself, I am worth more than this. I do not have to beg for respect. I do not have to fight for basic decency. So don't be afraid to walk away from what doesn't honor you. Don't be afraid to create space when someone refuses to treat you right. Because distance is not the end. It's the beginning of clarity, peace, and self-respect. The most powerful response you can ever give to disrespect is your absence. When someone disrespects you, it's easy to take it personally. It's easy to let their words or actions sink into your skin and start questioning your own worth. We replay it in our heads, wondering what we did wrong, why they treated us that way, or if maybe we deserved it. But here's the truth: you need to hold on to their behavior is not a reflection of you. It's a reflection of them. The way someone chooses to treat others is a mirror of their character, their insecurities, their wounds, and their level of maturity. It has nothing to do with your value. Think about it. When someone is kind, respectful, and uplifting, do you assume it's because the people around them are flawless? No. You know it's because that's who they are. It comes from within. The same is true for disrespect. It's not about you, it's about them. People project what's inside of them. A bitter person spreads bitterness. A broken person breaks others. A secure person respects others. What they hand out says everything about what's happening in them and nothing about who you are. But here's where we often trip up. We let their disrespect define us instead of them. We start absorbing it, wearing it like a label. And the more we do that, the more power we hand over to people who never deserved that much control in the first place. You can't stop someone from being rude, but you can stop their rudeness from rewriting how you see yourself. The moment you stop internalizing disrespect, you take your power back. You're no longer living in reaction to other people's moods, opinions, or poor choices. Instead, you start living from your own standard. You recognize that behavior is about them, not me. That tone is their issue, not my identity. And that shift is freeing. It means you don't have to fight every battle. You don't have to carry every insult. You don't have to fix every person who crosses your path. You just have to stay rooted in who you are. And let me say this: staying rooted doesn't mean ignoring the hurt. Disrespect stings, no matter how strong you are. But you get to choose what you do with that sting. Do you let it poison you? Or do you let it remind you that their disrespect is not a reflection of your value, but a reflection of their lack of it? One leads to bitterness, the other leads to freedom. When you let someone's actions define them instead of you, you start to see more clearly. You start realizing that the coworker who belittles everyone probably does it because they're insecure about their own role. The friend who mocks you might be masking jealousy. The partner who dismisses you might be projecting their own unresolved wounds. And when you see it for what it is, you stop making it your job to carry it. You can acknowledge the disrespect, but you don't have to absorb it. That's why it's so important to hold on to this truth. People's actions reveal who they are, not who you are. Their disrespect doesn't shrink your worth. It shrinks theirs. Your job is not to prove your value to them. Your job is to keep standing in your value, no matter how they act. So the next time someone disrespects you, don't let it write your story. Let it write theirs. Because disrespect doesn't define your character, it exposes theirs.